What is going on, Movie Meals? Movie Meals, this is going to be a little bit of a different video. So before we get into it, thank you, Movie Meal patrons, Kimberly and Karen. If you want to be a member of the patronage, go check everything out down below. Go get some merch. It's all linked in the description. But I'm a massive fan of anime, and I always have been. I mean, I'm wearing a Naruto shirt. I've got a Naruto tattoo. I mean, I've loved anime, and we're a movie channel. You know, we do talk about television, we talk about anime at times, but for the most part, we stick towards movies. And I want to change that sometimes slightly. For the most part, I leave a video style essay to my brother who does it over on Any Essays, and I will drop that down in the link down below because he makes incredible essays diving into anime and all this really cool stuff. But every now and then there's something I just have to talk about. I've been working on a Naruto video for almost 9 months that will hopefully be coming out within the next few months. But I want to talk today about Death Note, and the title of this is Death Note: Why the Ending is Great. And I just rewatched it last night. I was showing it to my girlfriend for the first time. I think it's one of the best starters to get into anime. This is going to be a conversation where I'm just explaining my thoughts. I'm not going to go crazy essay style like I might be doing for my Naruto video, and I'm not going to try and do that. That's not really my thing, but I did want to talk about it. So I first just want to talk about overall my love of Death Note. I think Death Note is arguably the best cat and mouse game we've ever seen on a television platform. And I've never read the manga. I do have 2 of the all black editions over there as I'm going to start collecting them. And I have not read them yet. I'm going to wait to read them. So I'm only specifically talking the anime, and I'm talking spoilers for the anime. So I love Death Note. I think it's one of the best cat and mouse games ever between Light and between L. And one of the biggest things that people kind of complain about, and for a long time I felt this too, is the show has just a massive drop-off after L's death. And I've agreed with that. And I do it to an extent still too. But as I was watching it this time, which is probably the 4th or 5th time I've watched it, something caught my attention that I've never thought of before, and I've never heard anybody talk about before. So that's what I want to discuss. So first, throughout Death Note, Light truly believes he is a god, right? He believes that he can create a perfect world with the Death Note by killing criminals and killing people of wrongdoing and things like that. Whereas L is a believer of justice, and he grew up in an orphanage by Watari, and he is bred and learns, and he's gifted to become a great detective and to solve problems. And they have this battle where they one up each other. And there's a couple main points that I think really will help the ending in terms of how these 2 characters act. So we know who L is, right? L sits funny. He talks about how sitting this way and talking this way increases his deductive abilities by a certain percentage. He talks about how he tries not to make rash moves until he's kind of pushed into a corner. And I think that's true. When you're watching the show, he does some bold moves. He reveals himself to Light, and Light realizes that this is now making him have to win the next the chess move next. And but throughout it, I would never call him insanely brash. I don't think he does anything so over the top that he can't figure some things out or things like that. I think L, my train of thought got thrown off because my cat started meowing at me, but L never, I think, does anything crazy brash. He does some intense stuff, holding obviously people captive, Misa captive, and the way he does it are definitely bold and they're definitely intense. But in terms of where Light is at, Light has this ability that L can't fathom. One of the best lines in the show is when L hands Light the pictures and Light gives him his deductive reasoning, and L responds, "You didn't even consider the possibility that there would be another picture." Let alone, and Light knows there's not another picture because he sent them, but that's when L shows that he is such a critical thinker. He thinks of the possibility of what if there is another picture? What if Shinigami really do exist? How do we do this? And he then, I think, takes the most logical actions for himself next. And what he thinks will work. Where Light has to do really, really bold and brash things that have to one up Light or L. They have to one up him. And we see that in the anime through the color design of how they're red and how they're blue. Blue is a little more soft and a little more, but it doesn't mean blue can't be bold. It doesn't mean blue can't do these things, but blue is a softer color where red is aggressive. It is brash, and that has always been Light. And so Light has to do these super brash things. He has to he has to trick everybody. He has to give the Death Note away, relieve his memories, create fake rules. He has to force a Shinigami who is in love with a human to kill themselves in order to get what he wants and kill L. That's what he has to do. It's extremely brash. It's things L truly never even would have conceived. And so now I want to position myself after talking about the two. Light wins. We need a winner. You need a winner in the show, and I think the payoff of having one of them win in such a brash and bold way is better than anything else we could have gotten if it had ended that way. If the show had ended that way, and we know Light just goes off and becomes the god of a new world, I don't think we get as satisfied. I think the audience sit there and goes, well, what happened to Light? Did he ever get caught? Like, what happened? And so I do understand there is a drop-off. I get it. I still feel it a little bit. But for the first time ever, when I was watching the show, I looked at Mello and I looked at Nier so differently. And this is the first time this ever came to my mind, where they are the dichotomy. They are a representation of Light and L. They're not the splitting of L, is kind of how I've always viewed it, because, Mello obviously has the candy addiction, the sugar addiction that Light had, or L had, and then Nier sits more like L, plays games and stacks things more like L, and obviously they both have their childish sense to lose, but if you remember, L says that about Light. Light is childish and he hates losing, and I'm also childish and I hate losing. And this is the first time ever that I really truly saw that Mello is much more a representation of Light than he is L. He is brash. He's extremely aggressive with how he does things because he doesn't feel he can win another way. Very, very similar to Light. Light forces a Shinigami to commit suicide in order to win. He doesn't care. He lets his dad die. He's willing to kill his sister. He's willing to kill everyone on the task force who have become his friends, which makes Matsuda shooting him just to me so impactful, because Matsuda is basically what Light would have been if he had not, he is also a son to Mr. Yagami, and so he's that representation of what Light should have been as a really good detective, and I just love that so much. But anyway, Nier is much more a representation of L. He's calmer. He's more rash. He thinks in terms of what could be okay, this is the facts, how do I go from here type of mentality. And it isn't until Nier says it. He says, together Mello and I could surpass L. It wasn't until Nier or Mello did what he did that we could have done this. And it harkens back to a lot of the things L said when Light lost his memories, where he says, you could be me, you could be better than me, I enjoy doing this with you, you and I together could really stop so much crime. And when you watch what Mello does, Mello calls and says, I'm the only one who can do this. And he kidnaps her, takes her into custody, and that's when Nier is able to figure out, because of a very brash move by Mello. I mean, even the hair color for Mello and Light are similar, but he's so much more brash, and it's the only way Nier is truly able to one-up him, by doing such a brash and intense move that is more aligned with how Kira and that version of Light thinks. And this is the first time I've ever thought that before, where I'm sitting here going, I used to think, oh, blah, 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 they together, it's a cop-out, blah, 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 and I am a lot less into that now. I feel that it is much more there in the show. I think it shows, it's foreshadowed in some of the things L says to Light and Light says back to L on their moves that they do. And again, It can be at times, I guess you can say, brash. He does some intense stuff, but again, I'm never sitting there in awe of what L's doing because I believe it's something L would do when he's given the facts, and I feel that about Nier. But Mello is brash, and even Light is like, this guy is being so brash. How could he think this? He's one-upping me, and it's because he's facing himself for truly the first time. Because we talk a lot about how similar Light and L are, but they do have differences in philosophy, where Nier is more aligned with L and Mello is more aligned. And to me now, this idea that they are, that Mello and Nier together can surpass L is true because L says things similar to Light when he is alive and how much he's enjoying working with him and things like that. So I had to make a video about this because it's the first time I've ever had these thoughts, and it made the ending so much better for me. It really did. It made the ending. I've always liked the final episode, and I've watched this show probably 6 times through, and I will start to be reading it, and maybe I'll make another video if my thoughts change or grow even more so in favor of this idea. But it is just so clear to me that Nier and Mello are written as Light and L, and that it has to be them together that actually can beat Kira, because Kira is the closest thing to that, right? When he loses his memories, he's a great detective that L truly loves and wants to work with. And when he's Kira, he's much more brash and he'll do anything to win. And it takes a version of L in Mello and a version of L in Nier to beat that. And that's just something I really love because it is a true back and forth. I mean, you're going to have your own opinions and you're going to have your own thoughts on this show and the manga of how it works and these last, 7 episodes, do they really work or not work? And I think they truly do. And I think it shows just this great thought of what this show was going to be. So obviously everybody has their opinions on the show, and they're going to have, you may not like this, but I would encourage you to think about this when you rewatch the show or reread the manga on kind of this dichotomy, because I think it's not talked about enough, and I think it really enhances the ending of the show, and I think it made it better. I don't like it as much as I like the first half. I don't like the characters as much as I like L, but I went from thinking they were cop-outs to understanding that they were more foreshadowed and that they are more of this play on Light and L and what it takes to win in this world they have set up. So I'm real curious what your guys' thoughts are. I'd love to see your comments down below. This was just me wanting to get my thoughts out about Death Note, so I just decided to make a small little video about the ending. I do think the ending is better with this in mind, of this really interesting way that that Nier and Mello have to be a versions of Light and L to win and to beat Kira, because again, Kira is that. Kira is this version of Light that we see without the memories, and this brash, bold, disgusting person that thinks he's doing this for justice, and it just makes everything more satisfying. For me, it made the last episode even better, and I had always really liked the last episode. Again, I love that Matsuda's the one to really take him out. I love the themes of heaven and hell, and where he lands on the staircase in the middle, and Ryuk's voiceover. It's just really great. But guys, what do you think of my theory? Do you think I'm just crazy? Do you think I'm an idiot? What do you think? Comment below, let me know. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Thank you. Go be a member of the patronage. Go follow us on everything. Go check out Annie Essays. Do all that great stuff. And as always, thank you for watching, Mom, and we will see you next time, guys.